Hello and welcome back to our basement. If you are new here, my name is Casey, and over the last year and a few months, my husband and I have been renovating our fixer-upper. Now, our focus when we first moved into this house was the main level, and we have renovated almost that entire area. And if you watched last week's video, you would have seen that I finished the basement bathroom. So the basement bathroom was the first space in the basement that we tackled because we wanted to make sure that we had two functional bathrooms in this house to make it a legit 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. And we're both so thrilled with the transformation that has happened in that bathroom. And I keep telling myself and others, I'm like, if we can bring the rest of the basement up to the same level as that bathroom transformation, I'm gonna be so happy. And it's gotten me really excited to get in here and work on the basement. But before we could work on the basement, I had some other things I had to do to kind of prepare to work down here. Number one was cleaning out our kind of all seasons room on the back of the house. I had been using that space as a makeshift workshop because our pole barn was damaged. We had some trees fall on it in a storm last year, and it took about a year, actually almost exactly a year, to get it fixed. It just took a long time to get contractors out here to work on it. So that has been fixed recently, and I can move all of the stuff from the sunroom, the all seasons room, into the pole barn and make the pole barn our official workshop. And the pole barn is just more conveniently located to the basement. Previously, I was having to walk all the way around the house or go through the house up the stairs. It was just a lot. So I got that space completely cleaned out. I will also say that I'm planning to renovate that space and make it just a really nice area to enjoy in our home, but that's gonna come a little later. And then once I had the sunroom all cleared out and all of our workshop stuff in the pole barn in our new workshop space, I could start cleaning up the basement. So the basement has been kind of a catch-all for a lot of our building materials and project supplies, all of that. And it was really cluttered and messy in here. And I just had a lot of stuff I needed to go through and send to the thrift store, that kind of stuff. So that's what I worked on over the last couple of days. Now we're gonna be working on this basement in phases. And so the first space that we're gonna be doing is this space here. So I had to clean all this space out, but I also had to prepare the other side of the basement to receive all the things I was taking out of here. So I did clean that out, put all of my shelving in there, and moved most of the stuff from this side over to that side. So that's kind of a temporary holding area for a lot of the stuff that we had in the basement. And I got things pretty cleaned out in here. I'm actually pretty proud of how much I got done in here. I do have a few things over here that still need to go to the thrift store. I've got a couple of boxes over here that I'll probably just move into this little room off this hallway here in the basement. Got some bags of trash, you know, stuff like that. And I've got a few tools and other things that are still down here. I may eventually actually move these into the other side of the basement. For now, they're okay. We can still get started over here. Now, last year, my husband started kind of tearing down some of the paneling in this space. The paneling is just really old. It had some kind of mildewy, moldy looking spots on it. We've taken care of some moisture issues in this basement too, so that's not a problem anymore. But anyway, we want to take down all of the paneling and do drywall in here and just make it look a little bit more current, kind of update everything, give it a fresh coat of paint. We want to redo the lighting in here. I would really like to get some recessed lights and not have all of the boob light fixtures. And the plan is to kind of get this space finished and then start moving our way across the basement. So I wanted to just share some of the ideas I have for this basement space. I think on the technical side of things, I don't think this is going to be a huge renovation as far as like, I mean, we're not having to install any special plumbing fixtures or anything like that. So that's gonna be nice. The biggest, I think, headache with this space is gonna be the drywall because drywall finishing is not fun. I have considered trying to hire someone to do it, but I think I am gonna try to do it myself. I've done a little bit of it and it does kind of make me feel crazy with all the dust, but maybe I'm getting a little bit better at it. We'll see. So anyway, we're gonna get all the paneling off the walls. I also wanna go around and kind of fortify the perimeter walls because we have had some issues with like centipedes getting in here and they get pretty bad. We've tightened up a lot of areas of this house, especially upstairs. We kind of had some issues when we first moved in, but as we were renovating everything, I was going around and making sure I filled any gaps or holes in the walls, that kind of stuff. And we're gonna have to do the same thing here in the basement. So once we get all the paneling off the walls, I can go around and just make sure that, you know, any gaps around windows or, you know, where the walls meet the floor, that kind of stuff, that we fill all of that. We'll probably pour some self-leveling concrete in here to kind of prep the floors for a new floor covering. So we'll probably do luxury vinyl plank, the same that we did upstairs. And so behind me here is where I want to eventually put my sewing space. So if you don't know, I feel like most of you here probably know this, but I also have a sewing pattern company business that I design women's sewing patterns and I do a lot of sewing, and my sewing space is currently upstairs in one of the bedrooms, but it's just a really small, it's a really tight space for filming. I have a YouTube channel for that as well. So I really want to move my sewing space down here and have it in this back section of the basement. I just think it's going to be easier to light and film my videos in that way, and it'll just be nice to have a larger space to kind of maneuver around. Now in this space along this back wall, I'm thinking I want to do a full wall of like built-in cabinetry that we can use for all kinds of storage, but I'll probably use it primarily for sewing storage and that kind of stuff. And then we also have this window over here that looks out into the crawl space beneath our dining area. So that was an addition. I don't know when they added that part onto the house, but that was an addition, and they just never closed up the window, and so it's kind of creepy. I would like to close up that window because we don't need it, and it's looking into, you know, a creepy crawl space. So we want to close that up, and then I would have like my sewing table in the middle here, and then, you know, probably just try to keep it as minimal as possible and have a lot of this stuff hidden in the storage units that we install in here. Because that is one thing that I feel is kind of lacking in this house. We've got a lot of house, but we don't have a lot of storage space, like concealed storage space. So I'd like to address a lot of that here in the basement. And then on this side, where the camera is sitting, I want to make this kind of like a little lounge space. So I'd like to have, you know, some chairs, comfortable chairs, some seating, a TV down here. Just make it an area that is comfortable for guests to stay down here. Maybe we have a couch that makes into a bed. I haven't fully fleshed out the furniture ideas yet, but I want to make this just a nice space to sit and relax. And this basement also stays really nice and cool in the summertime. It's actually quite comfortable right now. I mean, we're getting into fall, but the temperature in this basement stays really pleasant. So it would be nice to have this space, you know, that we can enjoy all year round. And so over here to my left, we've also got an area where they used to have a fireplace, and they took it out and filled in the hole for the flue and everything. But there is some brick here. I'll probably just keep the brick and do something over here to, I don't know, make it a feature. I haven't decided yet what I want to do with that, but I did think it might be kind of fun to put like a little electric heater over here that kind of looks like a faux fireplace. I don't know. That's something I'm kind of thinking about as well. And just in general, I want to brighten this space up, kind of make it a little bit more current and just feel more inviting. I mean, it really is kind of awesome to have this entire, I mean, the basement takes up the entire footprint of our house. So we have so much space down here to work with. It's just going to be amazing to have this additional space down here. And I guess I can go ahead and show you some other ideas I have for the basement as well. So if I walk over here to this little hallway that leads to the other side of the basement, and to my left here is a small room. I don't know if this was ever a bedroom or just a storage space, but this room needs a lot of TLC. Again, I just want to take everything down to the studs in here and start fresh. We do have a little like well pump room in here that is just kind of open. I'd like to put a door on that, obviously, and then also kind of just clean up in there and make sure that, again, we're kind of fortifying against any pests getting in. I do think there might be a few little weak spots where the centipedes can get in. So I want to clean that up really well. And yeah, I don't know what they were doing in this room, but it looks like they had already started trying to kind of renovate it a little bit, and they had torn some of the paneling off the walls, and so there's exposed insulation. This room looks the most heinous at this point, but I do want to get this room cleaned up and either turn it into a bedroom or turn it into like a storage space for dry storage for food, maybe have a freezer down here for food storage. I'm not 100% sure yet what I want to do with this room, but I definitely want to get it cleaned up really, really well. Now, if I keep walking down this little hall, there's a mechanical room here to my right, and, you know, just your standard mechanical room. And then if I keep going, I have the laundry room here to the right, and it's a perfectly functional laundry room. I do want to renovate that space as well and just make it, again, more inviting. I want to add some better built-in cabinetry. The cabinetry that's in there is pretty old, and I'd like to kind of rip all of that out and add some new cabinetry and like a space for folding laundry and all of that. I also kind of thought about adding a utility sink in here. I feel like it would probably be pretty straightforward because we have access to, you know, the water. It's like right by the mechanical room and the bathroom that we have over here, so I don't think that would be too difficult. And then behind me here is where our walkout is. So you can see this wall here. We've kind of torn some of the paneling off and kind of gotten in there with some spray foam because this whole wall is just really actually kind of poorly built. I think this used to be a small garage. And because there's like a drain in the floor, and it looks like there used to be a garage door here potentially. And I know for a fact that there used to be like a double door, like a sliding glass door here, but then they eventually took it out and put in this single door. Well, they also kind of cut into the header here, which I don't think is 100% kosher. And then the wall itself is just kind of a mess. So I have gone through and put a lot of spray foam in the cracks in this wall just to kind of help keep any mice or anything getting in here, because we did have a little bit of a mouse problem when we first moved in, but we haven't had an issue with that lately, so that's a relief. But eventually I'd like this room to be like a mudroom. And again, I want to put in some built-in storage either on this wall or both, and have like a bench seating area where we can sit and kind of take off our dirty shoes, a place to hang coats and everything, because we do come in and out of this door quite a lot. And what's funny is when we first moved into this house, we were like, oh, we got to close up that door. Like, we don't, like, this whole wall just kind of scared us, and we were like, we just want to close it all up. But we use this door so much now that we're going to keep it. So we'll probably eventually change out the door and get something that feels a little bit more current. And we have a lot of things to do on the front of the house to kind of give it some more curb appeal. So we'll probably address that a little later. But yeah, this space, again, I want to take it all down to the studs, put up new drywall. The ceiling is just kind of funky. I don't know, like it doesn't look very good. And then I would like to have some really nice storage in here, because I mean, this is a basement. We do still want to be able to store stuff down here, but I'd like it to just not be all out in the open. So that's kind of the initial plan for the basement renovation. We have a lot of work to do down here, although I am very excited to do this. And I'll be sharing the whole process here on the YouTube channel. You know, these things do take some time. That's the one kind of frustrating thing about doing home renovation, especially doing it yourself. Well, actually, I shouldn't even say especially doing it yourself. I mean, the few times that we have hired contractors to help us with projects around here, it takes a long time to get qualified people in to work on stuff. So we have done a lot of things ourselves, things that we feel are appropriate for us to do ourselves. When we need professional help, we obviously will call for professional help. But in general, we really enjoyed learning how to do a lot of the things ourselves. It saved us a ton of money on all these projects. We bought this house when the market was kind of going crazy, and it took us a really long time to find a house, but we feel like we got a really fair price on this house because it's a fixer-upper. And so in our minds, we're continuing to add value to this house, and we're saving money on that effort by doing a lot of things ourselves. I also have Pinterest boards for every room that we are working on in this house, and I'll put a link to my Pinterest down below if you want to check that out. And I love using it to help me plan out my projects. And so I've gotten a lot of really great ideas for, all the spaces in our house. So that's the plan for the basement. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you are interested, I also have a Patreon page. I'll put a link to that down in the description if you want to further support the channel and the work that I do here and over on my sewing channel. So thank you again for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.